And we're back, baby. Welcome back to the channel. It has been a while. Today we are working on Saber, my S550 Mustang track car that is currently supercharged. If you haven't seen the series where I supercharged this car for under $1,000, definitely go check that out. It's on the channel. And today we're gonna be working on the few updates to get her running better and making even more power, and that has to do with a few different things. Don't mind the mess everywhere. I have a box right here from FedEx, and that is going to be very important with getting her set up to run better here at the Colorado altitude and also make some more power for racing and hooning and whatever else we do. Now let me show you another reason about why we are here and another thing that we're going to be working with today. Let me hop in here. So, hopping in Saber, I have a new little device here. This is the RTD Plus unit. I'm going to be working with pre-aux tuning to get her running better, because if you don't know already, one of the issues I've had with her for a while now has been she hasn't ran properly. AFRs and short-term fuel trims have been all over the place, as well as idle, stalling, and a few other things. So we're going to get her tuned out, and hopefully we're going to get her not spraying black soot shit on my cabinets, my driveway floor, my garage floor anymore. As you guys can see, I've fashioned literal soot spray blocking devices in front of each tailpipe because of this issue. But today we're going to be flashing on the new base map tune from pre-aux tuning onto using our new RTD Plus tuner, because the SCT device is not supported by many tuners and it has very limited capabilities and also very poor reliability, as we have seen on this channel already. So I'm going to get this RTD tuning device plugged in down there, but unfortunately for you guys, the RTD tuning device actually uses a cell phone app on Android and iPhone to communicate and flash tunes and such. So I will have to cut the camera. I'm gonna have to plug it in, cut the camera, and flash the tune. All right, so we have powered the ignition off again because the tune has just finished flashing on the car. So we're gonna go ahead, open the garage door here, and get her fired up. She hasn't ran in quite a long time. It's been 3 or 4 weeks at least, because things have been busy. As you guys saw, I was in Monterey for Monterey Car Week. If you haven't yet watched the recap vlog / cinematic coverage video on this channel, it should be the previous video. Click on the screen. You definitely gotta watch that video. We're going to pop on the ignition, and time to fire her up. Here we go, in my Crocs, honorary. Here we go. We're gonna go upload these data logs to the tuner, and then next step is to start cracking open this box here. Dude in the Corvette's like, damn, where do I get me some of that whistle, huh? Alrighty guys, fast forward and we have more parts out of the Mustang right now, and lots of work to be done still. I have a pile of boxes over there that I'll show you guys in just a second. This is the state of the engine bay right now. I know the lighting is kind of shit. I did actually just shove the intake back into the car just for the moment, but the PCV system needs redoing, just like we did with all the vacuum lines. As you can see, we have, it's not pretty, but we have vacuum lines set up we have everything kind of half reassembled. This PCV check valve needs to go, and there's a few more things we need to do to tidy up this car and get it running really nicely, making some power. This stack of boxes is going to help us with that. We have a few things. This is a new air filter. It's going to be just a shorty filter that we stick here. I'm not entirely positive I'm going to keep that setup, but I do want to try it, especially because we'll be disconnecting the PCV valve. So first up on the list is this little box here from UPR. Big shout out to those guys. They're awesome. And this is the unit that's going in Sabre tonight. One of the units, at least, one of the parts. And this is a UPR double-sided atmosphere vented catch can setup for the PCV system for the car. And this has a supposedly pretty quick and easy mounting setup and a drain at the bottom. And I believe you can also get replacement filters for use. They also included this, I believe it's a billet check valve for the heads of the motor, the valve covers. A few other goodies here. And basically, when we start the setup, I'm going to review the instructions for in a second. Basically, that's going to replace this PCV line and this check valve and this PCV line, so both sides of the motor will have oil separation from a catch can. Both sides of the motor will have atmosphere venting, and we will eliminate the PCV line that recirculates oils into the intake, which is an even bigger bonus. And we're going to be replacing, now yes, I haven't driven, don't worry, I haven't driven the car with those open. Those are just open like that now. This is actually what I had on the car. This is a JLT catch can, kind of more for an NA setup. It was kind of just hanging out right there. And actually, I was told recently this is the first generation of JLT catch cans. Back when they didn't even have the proper check valve or whatever kind of setup, I'm not specifically sure. But long story short, we did some testing with the engine idling, and this little guy right here was causing a literal problem, some sort of vacuum-based pressure in the motor based problem. Basically, this little tab is going to sit pretty much right there, and then the catch can is going to mount on that. So what we're gonna do first off is we have this little plastic tab dude. We are going to rip it out. Actually, that took no effort at all. So this guy will now go on the floor to live with the rest of the parts we're deleting from this car. And we're going to stick this guy on that hole and get it mounted up. And after lots of manipulation with the tiny Allen key and a 7/16 wrench, we have the little tab in here, and I still have to tighten it down probably a little bit more, but it's a good idea just because you guys can see how tight that fit is. It's a good idea to get this installed on this little tab here before separately, so that way we can just take this guy, and this will have to be another thing I put the camera down for. Depending on where we set this guy, we might move this back to be here. We have a lot of adjustability, as you guys can see with this with these bolts here. So we have a lot of adjustability, and I'm going to be comparing with photos and seeing what some other people did. Let's get this guy installed, and then I'll probably play with positioning a little bit. Then I'll show you guys the process of, I'll show you guys the very easy, very short process of routing the two PCV hoses we have right there. It's a super easy job. It's literally these guys, super nice thick braided lines, by the way, and it's basically just going to pop here. You know, we're gonna have to manipulate them, but yeah, they're gonna pop onto either end, and that's how it's gonna be. And there we go, guys. That's what it looks like when it's mounted on. Like I said, it's just this threaded, like, twist nut lever thing right here that goes into that mount. I'm still a little curious about the position. Looks like we can move it back just a tad bit. I might play with that off camera to see if that helps its clearance, but honestly, I kind of like where it's at. If you guys can see the topographical view, it's kind of in this nice dead space created here. It shouldn't contact the hood. We will test that as well. Slightly, there we go. Slightly painful on your finger. Plastic tabs, these annoying things. That guy, you guys probably can't see, but that sees right into your valve cover. And for now, we're just going to take this intake line and leave it over here. Let's get this popped in. Really nice solid fitting. That felt better than the factory fitting, that's for sure. And we can honestly run this line. No, I don't want to get close to the pulley. Just going to run it behind and down. Again, this is much easier when you're not doing it with one hand. These are surprisingly stiff lines, though, I will say. These hoses, these are surprisingly strong and stiff feeling. All right, progress update. It is much easier to get the check valve off when you remove the powered by forward valve covers first. And you just gotta jiggle it around, turn it like a quarter turn to the left. And here it's gonna come right out there. Nice and covered in oil. You can hear that check valve kind of rustling back and forth. We are gonna go replace this guy with this guy right here. We're gonna keep that clean. We're gonna go replace it with this. And for NA or stock applications, they did come with threaded jets to provide a little bit of like pressure and resistance, which they did recommend for non-boosted applications. But for a boosted application, it sounds like it's a good idea to run just the open jet. And that's going to be good because we have atmosphere venting. We have the proper setup now. I did just consult their installation video, and they did actually say you do not want to use a wrench when tightening this fitting because these valve covers are plastic and they're very breakable. So what we're going to do next is use this tiny little micro Allen wrench, which might be a real pain in the butt. Yeah, this is going to be a pain in the butt. Basically, they have these tiny little set screws right here. You can see that one right there. I'm gonna point at it right there. And then another one right down there. And you're going to thread them down until they meet the valve cover case. And that's going to provide some stability and structure to the cover to the port, because it does stick out a little bit. And we're gonna have heavy braid lines on it. And just like that, y'all, she's on and set up. Oh yeah, honestly, look at that. Honestly, that looks kind of cool. Alrighty guys, time to cold start Helga, the 4Runner, for the next part in this video. Where basically, we're gonna be doing a little bit of intermediary work. I do have a data log to go do, and that's gonna be at Watt for the first time on this new setup with this new tuner and everything else. And that's gonna be exciting. First, I really wanted to get the car running a little more efficiently. It has lots of heating issues just because it's a supercharged car. I have the factory hood, factory front bumper on it and everything. It doesn't get much airflow. I know summers are gonna be hot, and on the track and everything, it's gonna be hot. The new intake I added on the blower it definitely flows better and is much easier to service, but it's getting hotter air that's closer to the motor and everything else. We're gonna go to the store right now and pick up some distilled water, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Basically, it's going to be remaking a ratio of coolant solutions and additives in the coolant, which try to help the performance of the car's cooling. Here we go. Got the stuff. Didn't want to be recording in this public store and get anyone mad at me, but for anyone who's into off-roading, you know, off-road lights, off-road trucks, anything, four-wheeling, anything like that, don't you worry, because winter is just around the corner. Not sure if you guys can see me. Winter is just around the corner, and I'm definitely planning on getting some more snow drifting and, you know, off-roading kind of content during the winter season when Saber can't come out of the garage. Here in Colorado, the winters have been pretty mild, which is good because that means we can spend less time unable to do things because of snow. And the times that we do have snow, it's nice and fun, and can have some fun, get some cool content, and then be done with it. That's one of my favorite things about Colorado is that I cop. Maybe not. One of my favorite things about Colorado is you get all the seasons here, you get all the kinds of weather, and thankfully, winter doesn't last forever. It doesn't even last a while. It snows, even if we have a big snowstorm, and we only have a handful of those every season now. Even if it does snow, the snow will melt in a matter of a few days at most, and then we'll have dry roads again. It's gonna be, yeah, it's usually cold during the winter season, but at least we don't have snow or, you know, terrible weather the whole time. We definitely will be getting some more off-roading and four-wheeling and snow drifting kind of content. Let's get back in here. I got the distilled water. We're going to get Saber running with some more efficient coolant, and then we're gonna do the first watt pull data log for my tuner. Alrighty guys, let me show you what this next process is going to look like. I have the coolant reservoir, the overflow tank. Finally, the motor has cooled it down from driving it earlier today. I have this syringe. It's not going to be the best system at all. I have an empty container to dispose of the excess antifreeze coolant. And then I have some distilled water and a cool down additive, which is basically water weather from VP Racing. You can read all about it. As you can see, we're getting some good coolant, and we're just going to squeeze it into here. Alright, that is one syringe full, complete. This is the status update right now. It's a little hard to see, at least for me on camera, but the reservoir is all the way down there. So we got plenty of the Motorcraft yellow antifreeze coolant out. I just squirted it in there. It was a long process. The stoichiometry is going to be a little rough, or should I say not precise, because this isn't exactly something that needs to be precise, nor is it going to be precise unless I were to drain and flush the entire cooling system, including the motor, and then measure everything, but that's really not necessary. We're going to take about half of this bottle, because this bottle, you can see the measurement right there for 14 ounces at the top, and then it goes down to 0, and the entire bottle, you can see fluid capacity is 16 fluid ounces. So because of the stoichiometric ratio, 1 pint treating 12 to 20 quarts of coolant, and 1 pint being 473 milliliters, which is the total volume of this bottle. We're going to pour from approximately 15 or 16 ounces down to approximately 8 ounces. So we're going to pour half of the projected 16 ounce bottle capacity. Now that might be a little more, that may be a little over what they were saying, but that's all right. We're going to get this cap off very carefully. I got my funnel all washed up, make sure it's nice and clean, poked a hole in it, and we're going to start mixing this blue Kool-Aid juice into the car in hopes of getting her running a little cooler. So we're almost at 12. And that's pretty much right on the dot at 8 fluid ounces. As you guys can see, we have gained a little bit of capacity. Precisely pour it in there. We're taking about half of the gallon, which is really not much. And as you can see, we're pretty much at the max line.
Quite a loud cold start, but as you guys can see, she is running. Everything sounds good, everything looks good. Still dialing in the tuning like I was telling you guys, but we have AFRs right around 14, as you can see. As you can see, right around 14. We do have a check engine light for the evap sensor, which was removed in this process of cleaning up the vacuum lines and everything. So everything is cleaned up, everything's running well. This is going great, this thing's staying on nicely. The catch can looks great, we're not leaking from anywhere, that is a little loose. So we're gonna try to tighten that down as much as we can. It doesn't actually like to be tightened that much, so I'm assuming it's probably good. We will have to check it when we get there, but besides that, everything's looking great. We're gonna take it on a test drive here and see how everything runs, see how everything feels, see how the car's doing. Alrighty guys, she is started up, she is running. Our evap sensor code is gone. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the heat up. We're gonna turn the heat on and up all the way. Thank you for its jiggly nipples. We're gonna turn the heater core on all the way, which will then trigger the thermostat opening. At some point, the motor just cold started, so it's probably not going to do it immediately. Man, that thing sounds cool. And here we go. Let's get a little bit of that Mexico underpass. Woo! Here we go. Give him some nice decel. Time for the second data log. Well, shit, guys. I can help